What's up, sports bettors? So I got some player props for you on Underdog Fantasy. We've been really hot on Underdog, so we cashed $2,100, two of our last three plays, and then yesterday, unfortunately, Manny Machado got a single, so we missed that one. But two of our last three plays, pretty good. So I'm going to be running you through some picks on Underdog. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, I already have prize picks. Why would I sign up for Underdog Fantasy? And both of these platforms are pretty similar, right? So they both are fixed payout platforms, right? So Underdog Fantasy, they have this payout multiplier. Any three picks you select, doesn't matter if you take overs, unders, you're getting a 6x payout, right? If we switch this to a different pick, what a surprise. We're still getting a 6x payout on Underdog. On prize picks, they only give you a 5x payout for any three pick entry. You can see 5x right here. So Underdog Fantasy, they offer higher payouts. They offer better payouts for these three pick entries. So I've kind of broken down, and I'll include this spreadsheet in the description. But long story short, on Underdog Fantasy, if you want to be profitable, you want to make money long term, you have to win 55.1% of your picks, right? So long story short, all you got to do to make money on Underdog Fantasy long term is be able to select your over-unders correctly at least 55.1% of the time, right? So most people, if you think about it, if you were to blindly select overs and unders, you'd get these right 50% of the time, right? Bam, he's always going to go over 12.5 or under 12.5 rebounds plus assists. So if you have no edge, no advantage, you're only going to be winning these player props, 50% of the time. So what Underdog Fantasy is banking on is you're not good enough. You are not good enough to win 55.1% of your picks, right? But you absolutely can win 55.1% of your picks. And where I get the majority of my player props from on Underdog is the positive EV tool. So I'll go and I'll run you through. The first player prop I'm on is right here. It's a slightly lower profit margin. You can see there's higher profit margin plays on no house advantage. I've explained this before, but you want to have as many sports books as possible. I found value on prize picks today. I gave out this play on prize picks as well as a bunch of others on prize picks. But sometimes there's more value on Underdog Fantasy, right? So you're going to notice this first pick I'm on is LeBron under 2.5 threes. So when you're using OddsJam, the positive EV tool, you always just want to look for the sports book you're using. So this video is about Underdog Fantasy. So you're just looking for that bet in bold and in green. So it's LeBron under 2.5 threes at minus 122 on Underdog. So if you look at the sports books, there's a couple things you're going to notice. The first thing you're going to notice is there's no prize picks logo, right? This line isn't available currently on prize picks. It's only available on Underdog Fantasy. So if you only have prize picks, you're missing out on a profitable bet. That's why you want to have more sports books. More sports books, since all of these sports books, right, they all have different odds from one another. They all set lines independently. So as a sharp bettor, you want to have as many sportsbook accounts as possible, right? More sports books, more opportunities for sports books to screw up. You can see here's a profitable bet on Fliff. Here's a profitable bet on FanDuel. Here's a profitable play on prize picks. So every sharp bettor, all the best sports bettors I know typically have 10 plus sportsbook accounts. But long story short, first player prop I'm on is LeBron under 2.5 threes. So why do we like this play? Why is it so good? Well, what you're going to notice is, again, Underdog Fantasy, this is a platform that's not changing your payout based on you selecting over or under. You're always getting the 6x payout, right? All you got to do to make money on Underdog is win at least 55.1% of your picks. And what you're going to notice is all of the sports books, every single one, FanDuel, Caesars, DraftKings, they all have LeBron's under heavily favored. All these sports books are telling you, hey, LeBron, he's a lot more likely to go under as opposed to over. That's why all the sports books, they're all data points, right? I say this a lot, but every sports book, you treat them, every sharp bettor knows this, you treat sports books as data points, right? All these books have different lines, so they're all data points on where the line should be set. And what you're going to notice is FanDuel, Caesars, Bet365, Fliff, all these books are telling you the same thing. Pinnacle, sharpest sports book in the world. They're all saying, yo, LeBron's under is a lot more likely than his over. His under is the heavily favored, heavily juiced outcome, right? So all the sports books have LeBron's under heavily favored. This is a great player prop to include in your Underdog fantasy entry. So that's the first player prop I went with. And then I've explained this before, but there's a new tool on OddsJam. It's called the Fantasy Screen. So I'll grab a lot of prize picks, parlay play, no house advantage. There's tons of different platforms. Sign up for all the ones available in your location. And sometimes there's more plays on prize picks. Sometimes it's Underdog fantasy, right? You never know which sportsbook is going to slip up and offer profitable bets on any given day. So that's why you want to have as many as possible. But what this tool shows you is just player props on Underdog that are winning above 55.1% of the time, right? So all it's doing is using sportsbook odds. So you see LeBron, there's some overlap with this positive EV tool, but all it's doing is using sportsbook odds to figure out the win probability for a bet, right? So this is a little confusing, I know, to some new sports bettors. It was confusing to me when I started sports betting. But sports books, right, they tell you how likely a team is to win or a bet is to win through the odds they're giving, right? So if a team is a minus 200 favorite, what this calculator shows you, a no vig odds calculator, is if a team is minus 200, let's say the underdog is plus 200, that team is 2/3 to win the game. Minus 200 means a 2-to-1 favorite, 2/3 to win the game, 66.67%. Right? If a team's a 2-to-1 underdog, they're 1/3 to win the game. They're winning 1 out of 3 times. If they're plus 200, they're a 2-to-1 underdog, so they're winning 33.33% of the time. Right? If a team's minus 400, they're a 4-to-1 favorite, 4/5 to win the game. 80% to win the game, right? So what OddsJam is doing is it's just reading in all these sportsbook odds and then telling you the win probability for your play. So if you look at LeBron, all the books have his under pretty heavily favored, around minus 140. The under is the more likely outcome. And we just got to make sure it's winning at least 55.1% of the time. Because again, if you're hitting 57% of your player props in 3-pick entries on Underdog, your ROI is going to be 11.11%. It's positive. All you care about is this number. What percentage of your picks are you winning on Underdog Fantasy? So what this tool shows you is all the plays in green, again, just using sportsbook odds, right? Minus 400 would mean a 4-to-1 favorite, 80% to win. So just using sportsbook odds, all these data points, right? All these sportsbooks are data points on where the line should be set. All this tool does is it shows you plays that are winning over 55.1% of the time. So all the plays in green, as you're going to see here, are winning at a high enough rate to be profitable in an Underdog fantasy entry. So you don't want to take these plays in red, but these plays in green, right, are profitable. So you can take whichever ones you want. So what I ended up going with is LeBron under 2.5 threes. All the books have his under pretty heavily favored. What's better than a bet on LeBron? A profitable bet on LeBron. For Lakers versus Warriors, that should be a crazy series. I took Jordan Poole under 17.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. And then I took Diaz to get a hit. So the best team in baseball, the Rays, I got Diaz to get a hit. All of the sports books have his over pretty heavily favored, around like minus 150 odds. So that's a great player prop to include in our Underdog fantasy entry. So here's my 3-pick entry. I say this in every video. I put my money where my mouth is. I show you guys what I'm betting on, what I'm putting my own personal money on. Betting 350 to win 2.1K, Poole under 17.5 PRAs, LeBron under 2.5 threes, Diaz single, just grabbing some picks I like. They're all mathematically profitable, all winning over 55.1% of the time on Underdog Fantasy. So that's what I got for you guys, these 3 picks. I gave out this entry earlier. They have a little promo on RJ Barrett. So RJ Barrett, 1+ point. Curry under 38.5 points plus assists. And Anthony Descalfani under 1.5 walks allowed. So hopefully this video was helpful. I'll include my email as well as this spreadsheet, kind of breaking down Underdog Fantasy payouts. I'll include these in the description. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let's make some money.